Hey, 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 Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Welcome back to the Virgo Channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, as I said, I can't believe that it's Christmas. It doesn't feel like Christmas, especially living here in Florida, but it's Christmas. Fast. Christmas makes you think about the new year and makes you kind of think about, things that you might want to change within your new year, things that have transpired in the past year. And all I got to say is so much has changed in the past year, when it comes to friends and my career and a lot of things. And so we never really know where we're going to be. So life really is a faith walk, you know, especially when we're talking about, hey, and cuts, especially when we're on this channel. On this channel, I like to dive deep within the readings. So I look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play it as karmic themes. Because a lot of times it's not about, what's happening in your life, believe it or not. It's the things that happen in our life are a lot of times just reoccurring karmic themes. And those karmic themes are what solidify a belief. But if there's many different realities that play it at one time and God made us in its image, then why do we live experiences that, obviously don't feel like we are connected to God, like that we're not separate from God, right? That's what they say. They say Holy Spirit makes us one with God. So again, a lot of people have relationship problems. A lot of people have problems within work. People don't choose, but it's the environment that they live in that has formed these beliefs. But healing is just all about integrating the spiritual lesson, which just pretty much means that you're seeing the situation from a different perception, which at least tells you that you actually do have the power to change whatever's going on in your life, even if you feel like you can't change it. Sometimes you can't change a person, but you can change a person's perception of you. Doesn't mean that you'll be friends with that person. It doesn't mean that you'll have a situation play out the way that you want it to play out, but you can always get a person to see you differently. And it's by how we treat ourselves. So we're going to see. Why I say that is because a lot of times it's not that the person that comes into our life is doesn't sabotage. They do sabotage. They do a lot of things, but it's really about why you attract that person. What do you need to learn? Why do you need to learn it? And once you're able to like integrate the spiritual lesson, you're able to actually quantum jump into a new reality because you see yourself differently. The issue is eventually people don't see themselves differently. They just relive the same experiences. All right. Anything of any importance or relevance to the channel you find in the description box. And I believe that today, I should say, well, it's today where I am. It may be evening where you are. Wherever you are, I hope that you're having a good day. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at everything. We're not just going to look at your relationship, because what you'll notice is if you have a second chakra imbalance, it's not just about the imbalances within the connections. It's showing up and it affects other areas of your life, because that's what wounds will do. Wounds distort your perception about yourself and the world around you and people. And so we can, if we can heal one thing, a lot of times we can heal another thing by changing that one perception. All right, if you don't get it, just follow along. The underlining energy is victim. The victim. Don't like that energy. We're going to pull from a different deck, and then I will tell you what the underlining energy is and why I don't like it. Mistrust. So the issue, I feel like You're either connected to somebody that is acting like the victim, or you keep reliving the same experience where you're like, well, I'm the victim in a situation. A lot of times you're reliving an experience, and it's that trauma, but it's also that you're connected to someone that's in the same exact energy. So the underlining energy is bringing out the wound, because we're never really the victim. The reality is that there's many different realities that play it at one time. Your level of consciousness is going to determine how you act. So karma is based on how you act. So there's a sense of you not trusting yourself in a certain situation. It could be with a job, it could be with a friend, it could even be with this person, but I'm not really feeling that. I feel like this person has that a little bit towards you, that they don't trust themselves on how to handle the situation. And it's based on previous experiences. It's not based on what's happening now, but the wound that's at hand is victim. And so, like I said, victim is would fall within that first and second chakra. And why I say it from a spiritual perspective is the chakras are the spiritual body. And in order for you to heal, you have to understand what you're doing, and you have to understand what you need to do to heal. All right. So that first chakra is connected to our body. It's trust. And trust doesn't really come from listening to ourself and our ego. It comes from listening to the higher self. When we have discernment of how to act, when to act, why to act. And so a lot of times, if you get nervous, you might just react. And when you react, you're like, I don't like what happens. And so again, I also feel like you're connected to someone that has that energy. Now we're going to see why. I don't want to really look at the wounds first. I want to look at like just something neutral. Like, what does this person think about you right now? Like something like completely left field. Because what you'll see a lot of times is how a person thinks and feels is not the way that they act. And that's why we look and see what the wounds are, because when you're able to see things differently, you don't take things as personally. I still have growing to do. I feel like, this person pulled away, and they pulled away because their life is not what it seems. They pulled away from you because they are overwhelmed with a lot. Now that happens when a person isn't really living their truth and hasn't lived their truth. I feel like this person is kind of in a, when a person has their life looks good and then it looks bad, and then it looks good and then it looks bad. It kind of looks like a roller coaster. And I feel like this person, like it's, when you met them, they were in a high time within their life. Things were going great. Now they're not in that space. So they're not as cocky. They're not as arrogant. But I feel like when you met this person, they gave the illusion that they were very secure. I don't feel like they were as secure. Now we don't know what's going on. We will look, but right now they acted like this. They didn't want you to really see who they were. And so this person is seeing that they have growing to do. I feel like this person sees you through not really like true perception, but they see you like as someone that has like a healer type energy, someone that, might still have feelings for them. But the problem is that, this person doesn't trust themselves, and it's based on previous experiences. And so, you know, you wouldn't be able to have boundaries with a person like this. And I feel like they're the victim because they tended to like everything their way. And they tend to live more from their ego. They feel terrible for hurting you. And that's why I wanted to see you are always on my mind. And I believe that. But I believe that you are part of, again, why they're like, I'm in victim energy where I can't really do anything to fix this. I can't do anything, and that's really what a victim does. It's like I can't like it wasn't my fault, I don't know what to do, I can't fix it. A lot of times you can say you're sorry, and if a person still doesn't want to forgive you, then it's you have to, move on. But staying in this energy of victim means that you don't do anything. And they feel bad because they're like, I hurt you, but I don't really trust myself in how to handle this. And also whether or not I would hurt you again. But this person wants to start over. This is where they are. Now, let's see. Let's just look at again. A little bit more random, like again, random energy before we look into the wounds, because we're already seeing like, okay, the person cares, they have feelings. It's, you know, they want another try, but that's because they know that time is a ticking. And is what it's saying is like this person is like used to, acting very slow and letting like the relationship unfold naturally. But I don't think that they tried to manipulate this relationship, because I don't feel like you gave that much. They tried to manipulate you to give to them, and that's not really what happened. So what you wanted was, you wanted somebody that was actually going to take the time to get to know you before jumping into a relationship, like explore like the unknown with you guys, like to build that intimacy. That's what you wanted. But this person was very shallow, and they showed you one version of themselves that, again, that clearly wasn't who they are 100%, because they wouldn't be going through so much in their life now. you know that wouldn't happen. I feel like this person was actually in an entanglement, and they have a lot of anger issues. And they have a lot of anger issues because they don't want to be connected to anybody. And I feel like, with you, they feel like there is a spiritual connection. And I've been getting that lately. I think I pretty much got that storyline yesterday. It was pretty much the same story, maybe a little bit different, but that this person has created a lot of, again, barriers caused from past relationships. So it's like this person doesn't know what to do. They don't know whether or not to like come to you, not to come to you. It's like they don't have like a roadmap to like, and they're not um intelligent enough on an emotional level to figure it out, is what it looks like to me, because they just stay stuck in this energy of, I'm so sorry I hurt you, I'm so sorry I hurt you, but I don't really think that I can fix it. And it's like, okay, how long are you going to be like that for? Like after a while, it's like like do something. Like you're acting like a victim, but really you don't want me to move on. You're wasting time. TikTok, that's what you're doing. You're wasting time. And so, this person, like they're trying to figure out this connection. They've never felt anything like it before. I want to use different cards because it's like I said, I feel like their reading is a lot of what it was yesterday, which is like this person just like, I'm stuck in these feelings for you. I'm stuck in these feelings for you, but I'm not going to do anything about it. And it's like, which is why they're the victim. You're the first thing on my mind when I wake up in the morning. I mean, even with a different deck, it's like divine counterpart. It's like where it's like, okay, like what the fuck? It's like, will you give me a second chance? This is a different deck. It's like I can't. It's the same story. It's like it's the same story. It's like where I'm like, okay, let's look and see, why doesn't this person think that they can fix it? It's like maybe we can like get a different reading from that. And why are we getting the same reading like over and over and over again? It's like a little ridiculous. So again, this person, that's the thing. It's like they tend to form, hey, uh, our Dolson, Merry Christmas to you. Like the attachment, they're used to an attachment style type relationship, which is not a healthy relationship. If you notice this, don't commit too soon, because this person can come on very like loving and kind, and but that's not really who they are. So what happens is that they normally have people that like fall all over them, that are like taken with them, because they create the facade of who, of who they want you to perceive that they are. Now, if you notice, you're like, all I wanted was for this person to take the time to actually get to know me before like committing to be like into, which meant sleeping together and like being in this full-fledged like living arrangement. Like this person wanted to go like 1,000 miles an hour, and you're like, I need like some sort of like reassurance. You need to show me. And because this person couldn't let you get close, it's because when a person creates a lot of facades, there's going to be like drama. And there's going to be drama because, you're lying to people. And they're lying about job, lying about where you are, lying about the type of person you are, lying about everything. So it causes problems eventually. So they couldn't let you get that close. And if you're like, well, you need to give me time, this person's like, I don't want to do that. It's like, which is why it said, like, again, you were like, no, I didn't want to go that fast. This person wanted me to get caught up in passion. They wanted me to get caught up in, which you're like, okay, like, do you really even care about me then? And so again, then you felt like it was illusions. Like that, you're like, wait a minute, like I'm living an illusion. You're trying to make me feel as if you really care about me. But this person, their whole life was an illusion, is what Spirit's saying. It's like they weren't really who they were. So of course they weren't going to be able to show you who they truly were. And so yeah, when you lie, you're always kind of like scheming. You're always trying to like, figure out how to get over. And that's what you felt, because you're like, okay, well, if you're not want to take the time. So this person was like, I couldn't manipulate, and I couldn't like do, which this person thinks that they're so smart, they've always been able to do that. People who get lost in their charm and their, words and their flirtiness, and the relationship goes according to the way that they want. People don't normally hold their ground. You held their ground. You held your ground. So like this person like couldn't push you into a place of being submissive to them. So remember, this person's used of that. Attachment is, you need to make me feel like I'm a king or queen. You need to make me feel like, but if I'm going to move 1,000 miles an hour and it's only about the passion and the physical, then, it's, you could feel it. And that's the thing. And so now this person is like, I really have feelings for you because I feel like they couldn't get over on you. And part of that is a little bit ego, and why possibly we keep getting the same storyline. Like why all of a sudden, like you just can't get over that I'm fucking gone. Like why all of a sudden is it that my life is I'm a little too happy, like because God knows that you didn't want to, make me happy. You wanted me to make you happy. It's like you thought that it would be okay that I give you the entire cake when you don't even give me a full slice of cake. Again, you want me to bear it all. It's like, and for what? And so, like I said, you stood your ground. and this person like just felt like acted like you were overstating your situation, like you were being too standing your ground, right? Like where you weren't being excessive. This person kept trying to like manipulate, like cross over the line, cross over the boundary, make you not hold to your standard. And that's like where you're like, okay, well, you can't shade it a different fucking color now. It's like I already saw what it was. And so they're not used to that. Like I said, they're not, I'm sorry, but when you only go dumpster diving, you're not going to deal with a certain type of person. This person, you just felt like you're like this person. If when they didn't get what they wanted, they would just create a lot of drama, and then it just continued. It was like one cycle go into another cycle. It may be a different drama, a different crisis, a different, like everything to try to manipulate you into them getting what they want. So that tells me that it's a lot about ego, to the point that they took it to the extreme, because they didn't just try and do one thing, which is why they're sorry. Because it's like, well, what they're seeing is, hey, that you're a real person. And now that things are falling apart in their life, because if your life is not built on truth, it's not going to last. It's eventually people find out who you are, the jig is up, eventually. And so what's left? What's left? What was real is what's left, and what was real, you you crept on, and that's pretty much because you wanted everything your way, like to the point that that's what became more important than the relationship. Which again, why they say I have growing to do, because it's like I don't know why I did what I did. I couldn't give you the love that you truly deserve, but that says more about who they are than you. It was again because it's like the love is real. It's real. It's transparent. It's that, you know, uh, you have to let somebody in, and guess what? Life isn't going to be perfect all the time. You don't look perfect all the time. They don't look perfect all the time. Life situations aren't perfect all the time. So it has to be built on trust. And this person couldn't show up for themselves. It had actually nothing to do with you. Um, I feel a connection to you like no other I've had before. So it's not like that connection isn't there. And that's what we always get in the past, like 2 days, yesterday and today, that is like the person knows. But they also know that because of the way that you are, you're not, it's either you come in correct or you don't come in at all. And I'm not afraid to lose you. And that is again why this person was like, I know that you're my person, but it's all about me. And it's all about them. Now you could say, well, that makes me feel a certain way. Obviously it would. And that's why God brought that person into your life, because God said, they wouldn't be able to make you feel any way if you didn't have a wound. So that's again obvious that it's again a past life connection. But this person navigated that way. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like this person would love to still be in your life, but it's hard right now and things got too intense for them. So that's why they ran away, because the realness gets intense. When you have feelings for someone, it gets intense. That's what's going to happen. That's part of the excitement over it. It's like, oh my God, like you get excited because you like that person and you want everything to go well. You want to invite them in. You want to get close. It's like it freaked this person out. It's like where they would want it still be in your life as friends, but they can't even on an emotional level, they can't do that. And that would be a lie. And the whole time they would try and make you lower your standards again to be with them. They might even tell you that they would, and then just flip flop, flip flop, flip flop because of that. It's so where spirit's saying it's like this person, and like again, they need they need to do healing. It doesn't, I'm sad. This person's sad. They still read the text messages and think about you a lot. They're still connected, but they're not mature. And so they just hang. And the best thing that we can do is say, well, they clearly represent a lot of like things that you need healing within yourself, right? Because a person that's like, I love you, but I can't. It's like, well, you're being the victim because it means that you would have to change, and that I feel like this person kind of acted like the victim because, hey, you held to a standard, but you also feel like the victim because you're like, okay, I'm connected to a person that can't give to me, and that obviously would hurt because you're like, okay, like everybody else can be with people that give them, like, why is this person, they're like, they just can't do it. It's like, what the fuck is that? It's like it clearly would make you mad. um so we have to look at your wounds because spirit says it's all about that, to understand, because it's almost like it's a fragmented part of self, right? That's what it feels like. It feels like, well, it just puts me back into this energy that I don't like to feel. And I don't know why I feel it because I don't really feel like I think that way of myself, that it's confusing. But you have to remember it's the experiences that you went through as a child that you don't remember, but they're repressed. And repressed is just now they're a part of you because you don't even remember. You're not, if you have a habit or behaviorism that's in alignment with that suppressed energy that became repressed energy, which means that you don't even know anymore, that it's just kind of there, you think that it's you. And so, environments that we live in, situations that we've grown up in will expose that within the inner child wounds. But inner child doesn't really logically think, but they hold on to the feeling, the energetic template. So the anxiety is there. It's subconscious. But how do you manifest? Through the thoughts that you think, the emotions that you have, and you're holding on to anxiety, and you're holding on to it, that anxiety in relation to a relationship, into, like, again, how it should make you feel, right? So we look, and okay, I don't want to see the same fucking cards that I saw yesterday, but I see neglect. Okay, I'm happy. I see disassociated. These are different cards, which we'll get there. Abuse. Well, this explains a lot. I love you, but I can't. Gifts. Joy. Naive. And anchor. So we are going to just also, because two of my wound cards fell out, and I'm gonna need both these decks after. So what we see as inner child wounds is any type of neglect, psychological, emotional trauma is neglect. The child doesn't know the difference, but there was trauma that was so bad that it was considered abuse, where you disassociated, which means like you don't remember all of it. It's like you remember parts of it, but there's also lack of memory for certain times within your life and your childhood. If you look back, that's how you know that there was abuse. You may not remember, again, the exact abuse, but when you have chunks of your childhood, like you're like, okay, I don't remember any of that, but then your siblings remember it, other people remember it. Is, again, that's how you know. So the neglect, it could have been psychologically and emotionally, but this abuse card tells me that it was more than that. And so, it robbed you of your joy. That's the thing. Children are joyful. They're happy. So there might have always been like a little bit of sadness, always felt a little sad. And again, that's not good energy because you don't want to manifest those type of experiences. The spirit says, But a child that survives thrives, so that you have a lot of gifts. But you weren't really allowed to embrace those gifts, because when there's abuse, and it's psychological and it's emotional abuse, well, then you're focused to think about what a piece of crap you are, like that there's everything that's wrong with you. The focus is on what's not working, not on what is working, that what should have been promoted. Like I said, what happens is a child then doesn't feel safe enough to have their unique unfoldment process, because there's no anchor. An anchor is just support. And that's again like father like daughter, like father like son. It's like it's again the anchor is that. It's what creates stability. But there wasn't stability because you were neglected, and when you weren't neglected, you were abused and in survival mode, and that created the detachment, which is I don't remember all of it. I survived. It's like I don't even feel like that it affects me. It doesn't affect me, but Spirit saying it does affect you, because it just played out in your relationship, and it made you feel as if there was something wrong with you. It's again where it took your joy. Nothing should take your joy, God says. Again, the neglect of no one cares. No one cares. That perception where, you know, part of you can, from being detached and disassociated, it's the child that survives, thrives, but they also stay a little bit naive and think, well, people are, it's like I can, if I treat them nice, they're going to treat me nice. Or like, think that you could fix it, like kind of like go back into the situation and try to replay it, but have a different outcome, right? So where spirit's saying it's like that naive, where it's we stay naive when we're children that had abusive parents, or an abusive parent that was like this, because they're not going to say, well, my parents mean to me, doesn't love me. They're just going to say, well, my parents in a bad mood, right? That's what they're going to say. They're not, because they don't know about trauma, that hey, well, maybe my parent is suffering from their own trauma. That's not. Child says, if that's my mom or dad, they should love me. They should support me. They should make me feel safe. They should make me feel, again, that's because that's how I would treat my child, is what that child is thinking. It's their perception. They know, and it's an innate thing. And it's also, they also can look around and see from other parents, and then they begin to judge themselves about what they're deserving of and what they're not deserving of. And so spirit says, so it created wounds, obviously. You get the story of who you think you are, then there's a real story of who you truly are. And God does that for its glory, because it works its glory through the most broken aspects of yourself. However, you're going to, like, when you grow up being abused psychologically and emotionally, you're going to have habits and behaviorisms that are in alignment with those perceptions that help you survive, but they're going to block you from thriving, right? So here we are, neglect wound. And like, this person neglected you. You grew up with neglect. It's like, oh, no one gives a shit. That's the energy. No one cares. It's like where it shows up as feelings of unworthiness, numbness, or difficulty trusting others, manifest as chronic self neglect, trouble expressing needs, or overgiving in relationships, right? And then often rooted in emotional and physical neglect during childhood. And that's what Spirit's saying. Yeah, that's why. It's like this situation. Now, it's not a blame game, but we have to understand, where did the wound come from? Why am I living this? The hell am I living this for? Because it's like don't deserve it, and it creates pain, and it's devaluation wound. Again, being brought up in an environment to believe again you're not worthy. It's again, all these things are wrong with you. It's like, and that's because someone did that to them. And that's what ancestral karma is. and that's anger. And that's a lot of anger, and that's a lot of, again, you know, being taught not to like yourself. So obviously, there's a fear of failure, which is in alignment with it, which is, I'm not good enough. I'll never be enough. I don't have enough. And God says, those are all covenants and vows that, are spiritually rooted. You have to, again, denounce them from you. It's, again, because detachment, which you have here, right? Because from the disassociation is, I don't remember emotionally. It's like I don't really remember because detachment comes with disassociation. And so that's what causes that fragmentation, and that's when negative energies can come into you, unless you are like are rooted in the Holy Spirit, unless you, again, are close to God, unless you are like, and that's the thing, a lot of kids are not taught that. they're inherited they inherited that trauma, and so that trauma gets worse. But what you'll see is it runs through family lines, and the fear of failure is, you might have grown up with parents that struggled financially, and when really it's they couldn't get out of their own way, which is what trauma does. You say, why is that person doing that? It's like, because, again, their habits and behaviorisms were built on other experiences, the traumatic experiences, and the habits and behaviorisms to deal with that is different. So we also see loneliness wound, which is, again, no one's here for me, neglected emotionally. And so it comes up as, feelings of isolation, disconnection, longing for meaningful relationships, like wanting that. And that's all that you ask from this person. And you're like, I can't even get that, the minimum. So again, it's a sacral chakra imbalance. And that's where spirit says, yeah, because you got to do it for yourself. The second chakra is all about your passion. So you want a relationship, one that is, again, to build that closeness. But spirit says you have to do it for yourself, because the actual integration part of yourself is to integrate that detachment and disassociation. And that's by seeing a different version of yourself. And until you're strong within yourself. So the sacral chakra is, I perceive myself as, hey, Mr. Wesley Ashley, you know, um, you're seeing yourself not accurately. The second chakra is, I can go with the flow of life because I'm in the passion for life. That means that you can't control everything that happens in your environment, but you got control over yourself. But if you don't like who you are, because it's based on other people, is what Spirit's saying. But that, all those people are a reflection of how you feel about yourself. And that's because there's fragmentation there. It's not because that's really who you are. God says that's not who you are. It's like, I didn't make that. I don't make things that are, it's broken, it's wrong, it's defective, it's not, everything's in divine order. They're like, no, I don't feel like my life is. It look like, look at it. And Spirit says, again, that's the issue. You're basing it on other people's perceptions, on other people's thing. And if people are making you nervous, you're going to be overstimulated too. People have a lot of expectation. So again, that second chakra is how you perceive yourself. That's why. Again, you feel like, well, I can't have it. I can't have it. Spirit says, as long as you feel that way about yourself, you won't be able to have it. And it's a second chakra imbalance. That's all that it is. Self concept wound. Like, you're not seeing yourself as the way I made you. Now, who does that? Your environment, right? Shows up as fragile or distorted sense of self, feeling disconnected from your identity. Like, who am I? Like, I don't really. And Spirit says that's because you create yourself. You create yourself. It's an unfoldment process. It happens while you're on it. No one needs to understand what your path is. Only you need to. And understand, if you're on a spiritual path, a lot of times it's going to be a lonely path, because that's transformation happens then. And that's why, again, in the Bible, they always talked about being in the wilderness, right? And the wilderness is like a fucking desert. There's nothing. And the Israelites were in the desert for 40 years and they were like, what the fuck? There's no food, there's no water, there's nothing. There's nothing. It's like we're just wandering around. And it was about building faith. It was about building trust, always seeing that God provided every single day. Maybe you didn't think it was enough. They always got enough, just enough to eat, just enough to drink, just enough to be okay. A lot of times, what you'll notice is when you're in the desert, you're getting just enough, but you're not getting anything else. And it's the resilience, it's the belief, it's the faith that you have to again grow. So again, basing yourself on, the experiences that you live, well, a lot's going to be based on another person's perceptions. And perceptions are based on beliefs, and beliefs are like, opinions, and opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. So, you know you your self concept needs to be built on how what you feel about you is what spirit says. Fuck all these people. It's like I don't care about what they think about you. I care about what you think about you because I'm inside of you as a gift of the Holy Spirit. And if you don't like me, well, and you don't trust me because you have that little faith in me, well, you're going to be in the desert a lot longer than what you actually thought. And it's painful to be in the desert because there was nothing. There's nothing, and it's a begin. So it's a faith walk, and where really life is. But when you grew up with abuse, well, then what happens is it's like I'm always alone. It's like I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. And spirit says there's nothing wrong except for the way that you're like looking at yourself. It's like you could be like, no, that experience happened yesterday. And God says, you're not your experiences. It's like, I don't care what you did. No, it's like you're not that. It's like you're not whatever you're saying that you are. It's like that's a perception. But if you wear your pants like a shirt, it's going to look fucked up too. It's again, so there's many different realities. Do something different. It's the fact of the devaluation, not knowing who you are because there's a distorted sense of self. Well, of course, you're always going to be lonely. You're always going to say, well, I'm alone and I'm not good enough and I need to be perfect. And it says, well, that's never going to happen because only I'm perfect. You can shoot for excellence, but you're never going to be perfect because again, there's many different people like that live in the world and not everyone's going to believe like want to ride your bandwagon, believe what you believe in, and so if you're not strong within yourself and you don't love yourself, it's going to be a problem, is what spirit says, in every area of your life. Every area of your life. Because again, that's that first and second chakra, connection to the body, the physical world, the physical elements of the physical world. Second chakra and first chakra were very close together. It's built on support. Did you have support growing up? Did you feel connected to mother and father? Were you allowed your unique unfoldment process, or was someone calling you names, bullying you, making you feel a certain way? Like you said, it's not a blame game, but we have to understand, hey, this is why that person came into my life. It has nothing to do with that's what I'm deserving of. And that's not who I am. Yes, it's a reality that I lived, and I denounce it now, with any negative energies, are inside of me. It's negative spirits will be attracted. That's what attachments are, by the way. Spiritual attachments are, just unclean spirits, The same way that we are spirits, we're just in human form, but when we die, the spirit goes back to God, goes back to source. Well, there's negative spirits, and those spirits, again, lived non happy life experiences. Why they're in Bardo. And so when you are fragmented, you are open to those negative spirits. And so it's not that there's not fragmentation there from the psychological and the emotional, but the spiritual is also part of that, which our society doesn't talk about. That's why you can heal, but then when an experience like that happens again, it's gonna hurt even just as much. And so what you have to say is you have to build a strong foundation, and you are the foundation. And spirit says, and that happens through the transmutation process. Because listen, hey, like with this person, I feel like you dodged a bullet. Like what you see is, unless you did all the work, that this person would never show up. You would be in the relationship alone because they can't even figure things out. So, God's like that rejection was really God's protection and redirection into creating a better and different reality, right? And so Spirit says, first of all, it's about going into the unknown, like it where Spirit says you can't get better in the same place that you got sick, right? It's just not possible. So it's like you need new experiences to see yourself differently, meet different people, see how they treat you. Sometimes you get comfortable around the same people that you've known all your life, but remember, people are creatures of habit. And so when it's very difficult to change in similar environments. So I mean, it doesn't mean to like divorce if you're married, and it definitely doesn't mean to you know lose your family members. However, spirit's saying if those family members and family like keep you in a lower energy, well, you definitely then have to go into the unknown and find yourself. And part of finding yourself means that you do connect to different people, and those people get to see who you are today. But you shouldn't just go out to try to meet people. When we move into the unknown, it should be, I have a hobby, I have an interest. There's something that I'm curious about, something that is going to feed you and only you alone. Because we find ourselves through our hobbies, our passions, our interests, things that just again stir up our soul. It makes a life out of no life, where spirit says, and moving into the unknown, you meet people that are going to allow you to see your limitless potential. That the only limits are the ones that you hold in your mind, that you're putting on yourself to see beyond the illusion. And the illusion is, again, what other people say, what other people want. Because again, that you don't need anyone except for God. That's the only thing that you need, but you need to have faith in God in order for that to actually work. And so the support comes from that. It's that I have faith, and I am strong within myself. I'm not reliant on other people, but you can do that only if you have put energy into going into the unknown, meeting new people, trying new things, and seeing what calls to you. And again, what calls to you, you're going to feel within the gut, you're going to feel within the heart. You're going to be, there's a pull towards it. It's an intuitive pull. And that's because when you're on your path, well, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and intuitively you are told. So it's not a logical thing, it's an intuitive thing. And that doesn't open up until you're really, again, having a love affair with yourself, where spirit says, you don't know yourself. It's like you're seeing yourself through, again, a narrative from somebody else. And that's not what I made. So it's time to look beyond the illusion and understand and use your passion to fight for what you believe in. Stand your ground all the time. And God says everything happens in divine time. I make a way where there is no way. So don't like it's not happening, it's not happening. God says my plan's better than yours. You're limited. I'm all knowing. It's again You don't see things that are happening in your life. You need to release control. You have a second chakra imbalance. You go with the flow of life. You don't control life. It's again when the student is ready to teach your peers, your intuition and your discernment through the fact that the Holy Spirit's inside of you is leading you. So you Father up in heaven acts as that support, and it works through you and your environment. It's God is everywhere, ubiquitous, all knowing. That Holy Spirit that's inside of you is the connection to that. And when you're in alignment and you have faith, then you realize that everything really is happening in divine time, that you can't rush it. And it's about releasing control, and that's really hard to do. But, you know, being with a person that's going to give you less, well, Spirit says no. It's again, I'm going to tell you one more time. It's about having unshakable faith, having trust in yourself, your path, and the universe, and that's how you have resilience to persevere. It's that you're holding on to your faith. It's that you realize that there's something greater, that whatever it is that you're doing, and that's again, it's whatever we do needs to be what's best for everyone involved. So, it doesn't matter what you do because we have free will. To give and receive of love is your free will. But Spirit says the thing that you give and receive can't be love to somebody. It has to be, again, about birthing something. Again, and that would be through your passion, through something that you love, through something that, again, is going to make a way where there is no way. And when you, again, are connected to that, they're saying, yes, people will challenge you, but it's about staying true to your path, but then it's also understanding that when you stay in that energy, eventually the universe brings you the right people and the right situations that are going to, like I said, help you, that are going to help heal you, because everything that's placed on your path is there to help you heal, including a person like this that you're like, what the fuck was that? I was connected to a person that the whole time they couldn't give me anything. Like, that's not fair. But Spirit says, but look at the wounds that you had. It's like they were in reference to what you needed to heal. It has nothing to do with that person. It's the fact that usually a person shows you who they are right away. And you can tell intuitively who they are right away. So when we grew up with neglect, we're more likely to give people second and third and fourth chance. We're naive. We're naive because we're like, well, maybe they're not going to be that way because of our connection. Spirit says, no, it has nothing to do with it's the fact that that person is not spiritually evolved, which means they're on a low vibration. They lie about who they are. And that's as simple as that. And that's it. So they can't give to you. It has nothing to do with you, even though it makes you feel like you, just like the way that you grew up. Had nothing to do with you. It had to do with, again, the trauma that you were born into. And so, again, you get the story of who you think you are, then the story of who you truly are. And so we leave off with one more message, and that is, hey, Debbie, Merry Christmas, with the voice of the heart. Silence the fear in you and discover the voice of your heart. Now, that does not mean running into a relationship. Again, it's the fruit of these words guides you. You trust the song of your soul. Your intuition leads you to the path to light. It means a passion. Because the path to light is just the path to unconditional love. Because God is unconditional love. There is no ownership, there is no expectation. We tend to think that love is that, but we know that unconditional love is not, because we're born into families that a lot of times we love, but logically we shouldn't. And we're connected to people that we love, and a lot of times logically like we shouldn't. So Spirit's saying it's like the real path to light is the relationship that you have with God, with with that, with yourself, with knowing who you are, that your cup needs to be filled all the way. So Spirit says now it's time to affirm and listen to yourself and acknowledge your own needs. Assert yourself and retain your power, which it could be hard again if you grew up with neglect. Like that might seem like an easy thing, but you might get into a relationship and just kind of blend with that person, be like so easygoing, and where Spirit's saying it's like, no, assert yourself and retain your own power. Be brave, gentle, don't have to be afraid of others, and respect yourself and know that you're respected by others. But it starts with you teaching people how you want to be treated through how you treat yourself. Where Spirit says, well, this person, I feel like there was a connection and the focus was on that. And that's what this person really thought, that, that they were going to be able to manipulate to get you to lower your standards. And the fact is, that's not what happened. And now they're in regret, but they're like, again, a baby about it. But Spirit says, it's not even about that person. It's like, yeah, it might make you feel better that they're in that, but it's also like, it's more about you doing the healing, changing the perception of how you feel about yourself. And if the environment's not going to do that, change the environment. Go into the unknown, go where you've never gone before, so that you can see, well, guess what? Not everybody treats me that way. It's like find yourself, is what Spirit says, because that is really what's going to change that energetic template. Because once you embody a new consciousness by going into a new situation around different people, well, hey, now you have that, what that feeling feels like too. And then you can imagine it. And the more that you do it, the more that you create new neurological pathways, the more that you just change. Like a lot of healing doesn't mean that you need to actually go and lay on on a mat for 12 hours and purge yourself. A lot of it is, I just needed to see a different perception. And in this situation, God says, yeah, you need to see a different perception of yourself because I'm not liking it, because I didn't make that, half that. It's like, and again, and the brain will not say that there's nothing there. Because if it is, oh, I'm not my trauma, then what are you? Well, I don't know. God says, oh, you can't do that. The brain won't let you do that because it's going to say there's nothing there. Nothing's there. I'm dead. So I'd rather be defective than dead. I'd rather never be able to be in a relationship than dead. The mind, oh, like, is all about survival. It's not gonna look. So you need to bypass that reptilian mind. And the way that we can do it is, again, by actually embodying a new consciousness, going through the fear, but seeing a different version of yourself, so that you know what you're deserving of. And once you have a passion that you're really connected to, well, it's not so easy for people to throw you off your track, because now you got something to lose, is what Spirit says. And that's your connection to God. Because again, how you give and receive of love is your free will to become the energy of God. And God flows through you through chi, prana, again, spirit. Well, that's what gives you life. That's what gives you. And when you're in that flow, well, that's when things become magical. We see when an Olympic player, hey, they do those double backflips. How did they do it? Forever practice. A painter that paints, how they get so good? Practice. Mastery comes in doing, but it becomes automatic. It becomes what you're supposed to do. It becomes your passion, and it takes a life on its own that you couldn't even imagine. And it will transcend the limitations of your own mind. It bypasses that reptilian mind, because the spirit will always override the mind, because the spirit's part of God. It's not, it's there's again, it's spirit and soul work very close together. And so that's what gives you your spiritual sovereignty, to be able to create your heaven on earth, is to be able to really do that. But if you're fragmented and you have wounds, it's going to seem like you can't. There's going to, again, feel like there's this separation when there's really no separation. It's your perception. It's the fact that you just need, again, to change the perception and integrate the lesson, because integration is what actually transmutes that negative energy. Otherwise, you're still a magnet to that energy when you're like, okay, I thought I healed it. God says you haven't fully healed it until you fully embody a new consciousness and get to see a different version of yourself, a different version of whatever it is that the outcome is. And so we always know what the karmic themes are that we're living. And so anything that is connected to, the version of how you're perceiving yourself, you're going to see problems within relationships and money. That's why Spirit said we're going to look at everything today, because somebody has a blockage and it's affecting, like, it's straight across the board, that first and second chakra. And the only way to heal that is, again, deliverance, healing. And then there's also, creating yourself. You have to integrate the spiritual lesson. You have to, and part of integration is shadow work. So again, joining my shadow healing coaching program might be beneficial to you. And then, you know, deliverance healing for sure. And then, you know, going out into life. People that just do the healing and then they don't go out into life. Well, it's again that's what for? Why? It's like the whole point is to create a new life. That's why you're doing shadow coaching. So I can help you in that area as well, but you have to do it in order to create a new reality. Because whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Which one do you want to choose? I'm going to leave that there. Merry Christmas to you all. If you resonated, give it a like, share. If you have a topic that you want to learn about, please feel free to drop it in the comment bar or send me an email. All right. Merry Christmas. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.